now button and let's do this thing live. All right then. For those of you that want to record and feel that you would get a benefit out of a recording, I welcome you to do so. Please offer me a playback of your recording, because while I am in process with the software as we have it now, it is incapable of recording. So this is something you may want to record. Hi there, everybody. You know what? We got a lot of people here tonight, don't we? You know why we have people here tonight? Because these are all people that at one point or another have crossed Dr. King's path. And I'm blessed and highly favored to see Bruce and his lovely wife Sandy here tonight, as well as Dr. Matthews, a former associate of mine in North Carolina, with a little something to think about. It's a film by John Van Aken. John Van Aken is a well-known author and publisher, as well as a venture capitalist. And I was out looking at some things, and I ran across John. I've had a chance to interact with him a little, but I want to play a little something for you tonight that kind of falls into the theme of things. So sit back, relax, and adjust your headset, because I want you to get the theme for tonight. That film is courtesy of Mr. Von Aken. If you would like to have that link, it will be available to you, and you are more than welcome to have it. You know, that kind of says it all. You can do it. If you only believe you can and will dare to try. As I come to you tonight, I come to you with a heart that's filled with desire to see. And more so than that, I want you to feel that many things in life that are construed as hurdles are nothing but mere bumps in the road that lead us to strength and success along the pathway. If the journey to success was paved in diamonds, and the road was glass smooth, reaching it might not be as worth as much as it is. So tonight, as I talk to you, I want you to keep the thought in mind that Mr. Van Aken made there, that you can do it. And it's right along the lines with what I've been speaking on for a few weeks about you can do it. You know, your problem is your promotion. Let me say it this way. Every obstacle introduces a person to who? Well, certainly himself or herself. How we respond to obstacles is of ultimate importance in our life. You know, the greatest example of the right response to an obstacle in the Bible is in the story of the giant. Hold on a second. I was trying to think. Gosh, you guys, Goliath. I'm sorry, my cat's named Goliath. I should have remembered that. But it's in the story of the giant Goliath, who, you know, he confronted and intimidated the armies of Israel, including the brothers of a young shepherd named David. Now, David's brothers chose not to do anything about the obstacle before them, but David did. Well, what was the difference? You know, the way each viewed the problem was the difference. The brothers looked at the obstacle and figured it was too big to hit, but David looked at the obstacle and figured it was too big to miss. The way you look at any obstacle in your life makes all the difference. So let each new obstacle force you to go to the next level with God. You see, our relationship with our Creator is in direct proportion to our creativity and our it found you. You'll be better or you'll be worse. That's how obstacles work. But in either case, you never fail as long as you continue to try, because the bottom line is simply this. You can't fail till you quit. And if you get through the obstacle and you are the worse for it, you had an experience that teaches you that's the obstacle you don't want to jump on again. And so you find a better way. You know, keep in mind the important fact about obstacles. One good thing about obstacles is every obstacle has a limited lifespan. Isn't that amazing? I know we get involved in things, sometimes we say, well, this. But realize this, every object has a limited lifespan. The funny part is we worried about things last year that I can even remember today. Don't believe the devil when he tells you that things will not change, because that's what we've been told all our life. That they will not pass, because that's what we've been told all our life. Obstacles subdue and put into chains mediocre people. The great leaders rise above them. You know, you and I need to be like the great man who, when asked what helped him overcome the obstacles of life, he responded, the other obstacles. We should be like a kite that rises against the wind. Every problem has a soft spot. There is an answer to every problem. The only question is not the answer, but are you part of the problem or are you part of the solution? Many people think most of their obstacles are money related. But you know, the correct perspective is to know that a problem that can be solved with a checkbook is not really an obstacle. It's an expense. Someone said that obstacles are what we see when we take our eyes off the goal. Keep your eyes on the goal and remember that you're not alone in your struggle. In Romans 8:28, I found this passage, and I think you'll find it most interesting because it says, we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. And that stands for everybody in this room tonight. You know, in times of adversity, you don't have an obstacle. You have a choice. In the midst of unbelievable circumstances, believe God's got a promotion for you. Remember that. So that put me to thinking when I thought about those words, and as I was putting together the webinar, and I thought, well, you know, that's all well and good, Dr. King, but have you ever thought about what the keys to your success as a person are? And what are those jewels that's hidden in your personal daily routine? So today I'm going to try to bring to you those thoughts of what I bring forth in my mind in the course of a normal day and in starting my day, and why I believe it's part of my success in life. You know, when I wake up in the morning, I know that today is always the day I prayed for. Isn't that so true of any of you? You pray that you'll wake tomorrow, and it's that glorious day that all things will be made right and that you'll succeed and you'll move forward in life and you'll glorify your Creator and yourself, that you'll be a good family person or a good business person, and that you'll have success as you walk along. Well, that's the first thing I think about every day, and I thank God for that day and ask him to send me on a journey that day for the next 24 hours that will bring me to life. One of the things I always think about each morning is, I wonder how today I can make myself valuable to somebody that crosses my path or that I speak with. I also think about something that is often forgotten in the simplest of terms, and I think about it's so important to say thank you and please. Simple little things. I try to arise early each day because I don't want to lose an hour in the morning and be like so many people that got up late and had to rush. They spend the rest of the day looking for that hour that they lost. I definitely always want to tackle a problem each day that's bigger than me, because it urges me to be my very best. It abides and abodes well with my spirit to accept the challenge of growth, of imbibing my mind with knowledge, and from that taking the bits of knowledge and converting them into wisdom. You know, I make it a practice every day in my travels whether here on the internet or out in the world, to always try to find something to compliment someone on. You never know how important a small little compliment can be to a person that needs that one kind word at that moment to make their whole day beautiful. You know, I know most of you probably don't think about it that way, but you know, I actually look for miracles coming toward me. And I look to be able to do miracles, to make the impossible happen, because I know with God I can. How do I do that? Well, both in the morning, I get to better know God by studying His Word. And before I retire at night, I leave it in my Creator's hands through prayer. And I pray for that next day. Each day I strive as part of my routine to make a small improvement in some area of my life. I try to help someone who has no opportunity to repay me. Because it says in the scriptures to do thy alms in secret. And for me, the glory is in the smile of seeing the person that didn't have the opportunity and the remarkable look on their face for the miracle that God sent their way through me as a vessel. You know, I know that many of us go through life, and I know you've heard the term TGIF. Thank God it's Friday. And in most cases, most of our lives are set up in that way to where we struggle all week long, hoping for the weekend, for that moment of comfort of our family and friends, and to be away from the toil of the everyday world. I'd rather say to you that I changed that in my life from TGIF to TGIT. Thank God it's today. You see, most people lose track that today is all you have. Memories are yesterday. Experiences are yesterday. And tomorrow is never guaranteed. So each morning, rather than saying, will Friday ever come? Oh Lord, it's hump day and I might be able to make two more. Why don't you say TGIT? Thank God it's today. For tomorrow may never come, and yesterday can never be changed. You know, as I go forward in my day, there's something that is ever near and close to my heart. And that's, I choose to love God and to celebrate His people as gifts in my life. No matter what their circumstance, whether they're saved or unsaved, whether they're good or bad, they're a gift to me from God, of my fellow man, my brothers and sisters in life, that have crossed my pathway. And I hope that I can always find that I left them with a smile, that I encouraged their path, and that I lessened their burden in some simple way. I try each day to do at least 3 things that'll take me out of my comfort zone. You know, comfort zones are the easiest place in the world to get. And let me tell you, when you're in your comfort zone, know this: you're stagnating. Why? Well, you have no challenges. It's comfortable where you're at. You don't have to change. You don't have to do something that might be scary or take a little risk. Just stay in your comfort zone. But then again, you're in the bleachers at the football game. You're not on the playing field of life if you're not taking chances and risks to improve your path to success. Nothing was ever accomplished that did not require taking a risk, a chance, and working at it with a good attitude. Believing it could. You know, each day I know that the devil hates the new day that I've got, because I'm up again. You see, I'm a constant before the throne of God, before man. And Satan has nothing to worry about the guy in his comfort zone, because he's accepted it the way it is. But me, now that's a little different story. When I step on the stage, I change things. I ruin his plans to deceive. I ruin his plans to destroy. You know, there's something that maybe many of you never think about each day, but I'm going to offer it to you. It's 3 words. And the moment that you can embrace these 3 words, you've won the majority of the battle. Here they are. I die to myself each day. I die to myself each day. Well, what do you mean? You're still here, Dr. King. No. I try to remove me out of my own way. And in order to do that, to be able to receive, I have to die to this finite body that God has blessed me with. I have to open this omnipotent mind that knows no boundaries to receive God's message and to be quickened in His Spirit. There's something that few people do anymore. A few times I've been to people's homes. When they sit down to break bread or have dinner, it's alarming to see how many people don't thank God for their daily bread. I wouldn't consider eating if the food wasn't blessed. It's like the manna from heaven, placed before the Israelites when there was nothing to eat. And likewise, the food that's on my table is from the gracious and loving hand of my Almighty God that allowed me the strength to endure, persevere, and place it there through His love. One thing I've always tried to do, and for those of you that know me well, is upon parting from any one of you or somebody in my life, I always try to leave that man or woman, brother or sister, child, total stranger, or closest friend a little better than I found them. It's amazing. I'm not alone. I observe each day that every day the earth praises God. And you know, I always rise early because I know that no day is long enough to complete all the things I would like to accomplish on the day's work. I had to learn that I had to not be afraid to ask for help. And that no man was an island, and that only through God were all things possible, and it didn't depend upon Dr. King. So I try to give a portion of my day to the best part of my day, the best time of it, to my communion with God. Reading His Word, praying, listening, observing, and feeling His Spirit upon my soul. I try to live by the golden rule, though sometimes that's not a very easy task in this world as we know it today. And I do that so I'll never have to apologize for my actions should I see tomorrow. I do today what I want to put off till tomorrow, because I know that tomorrow is sufficient unto the task ahead of me. I try not to leave anything unfinished, though some hours and some days go by so fast that I must pray and leave the rest in the gracious hands of our Lord. Each day I know that the place to be happy is here. We're not seeking happiness, folks. We're seeking paradise in heaven. And we're trying with everything in our spirits and souls to forsake the perils of hell. So the place to be happy is here and now. The time to be happy is now. You see, because a joyous spirit finds favor in the Lord. And a saddened spirit is a tool of the assassin. Life is a journey, folks. My goal is to slide into heaven hollering woo-wee. What a ride. I take small steps to conquer bad habits that I might encumber along the way of mine. Some of them are smaller than others, and some of them in the habit forever. But I can tell you one thing. The learning process only began when I started to realize that I didn't need to evaluate the harvest, because it wasn't my actions, not by the harvest, but by the seeds I had planted that allowed it to grow and manifest into the crop of beautiful people that surround me each day. You wanted to know a little bit about what my day was and what led me to success? There you have it. I could go on for hours. But let me tell you something as I go a little further in life. You know, when you make your mark in life, you'll always attract erasers. You know, if you write on a chalkboard, somebody come along and erase it, won't they? But when you make your mark in life, you'll always attract erasers. You know, to succeed in life, you must overcome the many efforts of others to pull you down. How you as a human being, choose to respond to criticism is one of the most important decisions that you make each day. I guess one of the first and great commandments about critics is this: don't let them scare you. You see, people don't criticize people who are doing nothing. They criticize people who are trying to do something. Charles Dodson once warned that if you limit your actions in life to things that nobody could possibly find fault with, you'll not ever do much. How true a statement. Because no matter the good you do, no matter the exemplary behavior you may display, no matter the passion at which you want others to succeed, you'll always have someone who has an evil word to say. It's part of our life. God loves us, and he knows beyond all shadow of a doubt that we will win with him. Our adversary hasn't accepted that yet, so he prods us. He bribes us. I'll go ahead and do that. It won't matter. Oh, why worry about that? I can do that tomorrow. I don't need to do that today. It doesn't matter that it may affect somebody else's outcome. They'll never know. That little voice on the left fighting the little voice of the right. You know, the one thing I've always found is nothing in life significant has ever been accomplished without controversy or without criticism. When you allow other people's words to stop you, guess what? They will. They surely will. Christopher Morley once said that the truth is a critic is like a gong at a railroad crossing, clanging loudly and vainly as the train goes by. You know, many great ideas have been lost because people who had them couldn't stand the criticism and gave up. A critic is someone who finds fault without a search warrant, if you would. Fault is absolutely one of the easiest things in the world to find. Did you know that? It's far easier to find fault than it is to look for the good in life. William Hazlitt once quoted and said that the most insignificant people are the most apt to sneer at others. They are safe from reprisals and have no hope whatsoever of rising in their own esteem, but by lowering their neighbor's stance in life. You know, critics not only expect the worst, but I can tell you one thing for sure. They also make the worst of what happens. If it ain't just right, it's automatically wrong, so they'll criticize it. If they don't understand it and they don't want to try it, they'll criticize it. Oh, that's too hard. You know, I would impart to you a statement that Dennis Foley once advised in one of his books, and he said, expecting the world to treat you fairly because you're a good person is a little like expecting a bull not to attack you attack you in an open field because you're a vegetarian. Little cowboy theory there. I agree with Fred Allen when he said if criticism had any real power to harm, the skunk would have been extinct by now. Because I can't think anything that smells worse than a skunk. Remember this about a critic, though. A man or woman who is always kicking someone else seldom has a leg to stand on. Great minds discuss great ideas. Good minds discuss events. And small minds discuss other people. The Bible is distinct in its measure that it says to multiply. But be aware of this, too many critics prefer to divide. This is where the age-old scripture falls in. Don't allow yourself to become a critic. Jesus warned us in Matthew 7:1, judge not that you be not judged. You will always make a mountain out of a molehill when you throw dirt at other people. No mud can soil you except the mud you throw. Remember that. The mud tosser, above all else, and without one shadow of a doubt, never has clean hands. Nor does the critic. One thing that you're going to find as you travel this journey towards success is you can't carve your way to success with cutting remarks, either about or to others. And you'll never move up if you're continually running someone down. Tillotson once mused, and let me see if I can remember how this went. There is no readier way for a man to bring his own worth into question than by trying and endeavoring to detract from the worth of another man. I've never known anybody to build themselves up at the expense of others, though there are many who do it each day in the world of business, in the world that surrounds us. They think by putting down others makes them look bigger. One of our greatest men of all time, Henry Ford, said men and automobiles, and I'm a proponent of Henry Ford and studied his life story over and over again because each time I find new bits of wisdom in it. If you haven't ever had the opportunity, please do so. But he said men and automobiles are much alike. Some are right at home on an uphill pull. Others run smoothly only when going down grade. I ask you, are you comfortable on this uphill pull? Or are you coasting downhill? When you hear one knocking, though, he went on to say, all the time, it's a sure sign that there's something wrong under the hood. And isn't that true of a man or a woman that is continually belittling others, being bitter towards life? Remember this, and it's something you need to take to heart. If you are afraid of criticism, you will die doing nothing. If you want a place in the sun, You'll have to expect to receive some blisters and have some sand kicked in your face. Criticism is a compliment when you know what you're doing is right. You know, I'm going to talk to you a little more about how you need to continually frustrate tradition and how to do that with your creativity and your imagination. You know, you have to stop and daydream once in a while. We need, all of us, you, me, everybody in this room, and everybody needs to let our imaginations roam and give them a chance to breathe, because if they don't, they become smothered and shallow. It's never too late for you to start thinking more creatively. I couldn't spit that word out to save my soul. Y'all forgive me. Often it's merely a lack of imagination that keeps a person from his fullest potential. To me, thinking of new ideas is like shaving. If you don't do it every day, you're a bum. I've been called a bum a time or two, but it's true. Start and maintain a constant flow of new, exciting, and powerful ideas on which you act immediately with your imagination. Continually frustrate tradition each day with your creativity and imagination. Smile. Make people wonder what you're thinking. And most of all, who cares? Be creative. You know, the opportunities of man are limited only by his imagination. But a few have imagination that there are 10,000 fiddlers to one composer. I credit Charles Kettering with that statement. Your dreams are a preview to your greatness. All men who have achieved great things have been what? Dreamers. It may be that those who do most dream most. One of the mottos of SFI, and the place where a lot of us come from, is you can never dream big enough. Dream big. You know, a shallow thinker, though, seldom makes a deep impression. Haven't you met those people that are shallow in their nature, traveling with the flow? That their idea was before. You know, we act or fail to act not because of will, as is so commonly believed, but because of vision. You know, only a person who sees the invisible can do the impossible. Isn't that true? And I can tell you one thing, ideas are like rabbits. You go out and buy a couple rabbits, you get a couple, and learn how to handle them, and pretty soon you have a dozen. And then pretty soon that dozen turns into 3 dozen. Well, ideas is the same way. You'll get more out of every part of your life if you stay incurably and completely curious about it. That's what makes life interesting. The one thing I would want you to remember always is it's important not to stop questioning. Albert Einstein once said, never lose a holy curiosity. And Dexter Yeager out of South Carolina, where Dr. Matthews comes from, says, don't let anybody steal your dream. And Dr. Matthews and I have well heard that many a time. You know, we've got to have a dream if we're going to make a dream come true. That's what my coach and mentor, Dr. Dennis Waitley, said. David, you've got to have a dream before you can have it come true. Nothing happens unless there's a dream first. And the more you can dream, the more you can do. Carl Schurz once said that ideas are like stars. We never reach them. But that like the mariners of the stars, we chart our course by them. God gave us a world unfinished, so we might share in the joys and satisfaction of creation. Creativity has been built into every one of us. It's in our genes, it's in our foundation, it's in our spirit. It's part of our design. Each of us lives less of the life God intended for us when we choose not to live out the creative powers we possess. Let me say that to you one more time. Each of us lives less of the life God intended for each of us when we choose not to live out the creative powers that we possess. I'm a big fan of dreams. Unfortunately, Kevin Costner said, unfortunately, dreams are the first casualty in life. People seem to give them up quicker than anything for a reality. Seen all the reality shows? How many of you watch reality shows? Yeah, it's all about reality. What about dreaming a little? Hans Selye once said that, realistic people with practical aims are rarely as realistic or practical in the long run of life as the dreamers who pursue their dreams. What you need is an idea. Be brave enough to live creatively. Since it doesn't cost a dime to dream, you'll never shortchange yourself when you stretch your imagination. A single idea, a sudden flash of any thought, may be worth $1 million. Look at things not as they are, but as they can be, because vision adds value to everything. Thank you, folks, for listening. I'm going to take a short break, have a little glass of water. If somebody wants to step to the podium, you're welcome to speak amongst the group. Who would like to monitor for me tonight? Steve, would you monitor the floor and help the people that need to speak or want to speak to come up? And let me grab a quick glass of water here.